All right, all right, all right. Islam. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, sir. Assalamu alaikum, ma'am. Assalamu alaikum to the children. Namaste to all the divine beings. I, self-law master. This is an emergency. It's always been an emergency as long as the land hasn't been in the rightful possession of the natural people and the national people of the land. Those of you who know, and those of you who should know, be prepared to protect these women and these children. Be prepared to protect our elders and these children. Be prepared to protect our people, if you know, because it's time, and it's time right around the corner. We've already been seeing inflation, but we're going to see it in masses of levels all across the globe. And the Prophet Noble Joe Ali warned us about these times of over a 90-day period of darkness where you won't be allowed to go into the supermarkets and you won't be allowed to walk the streets, period. So it's an emergency now, and it's right around the corner, especially with this Pluto mastery on November the 20th. And you already know that they're doing sorcery and rituals now in this 9/11 era of September in order to reach the 9/11 of 11/20. You see the correlation of the 11/11. This has always been the way that they've worked. This has always been the way that they've got the job done through us. But that time is done now. And it's been done for a long time, just like we've always been sitting in an emergency as long as we don't have true possession and respect first for who we are and the apparent heirs that we are, and the land being restored, not reparated, restored. So the 9/11 rituals with Diddy, with the young rappers dying, with the Kamala Harris and TRUMP, and all the major distractions that we could think of. Meanwhile, the latest news is the ports are closing. Meanwhile, the latest news is the two moons are present. Meanwhile, the latest news is, hey, if you're a U.S. citizen, get ready to obey. Get ready to live out the movie They Live if you remain subject to the subject matter. It's an emergency. You already know that we are right around the corner, and you need to ask for deliverance. It's that time again to ask for deliverance, because we right around the corner again from another Pandeezy announcement. The first one was a test. The second one is the real thing. Mind you, this is not even 4 years ago, coming on a 5th year. Anything that deals with the 5 is something that's coming into power. 2025 is on the 9. Anything that deals with the number 9 is on completion. 9 and 5. You see? They use our astrology and our cosmology for their benefit. So, what can you do at home to prevent slavery? First of all, remember, and always remember, and stay in alignment with knowing that the birthright and the blood right is always expressed through love and the throat chakra first, and that being the master of that enforcement. Second, the paperwork is 10% of that mastery. That is only and only for your record to prove to yourself and for your record to prove what you say, I am who I say I am, and I can prove it with receipt. Remember, mothers and fathers, as long as you are right, for any female, mind you, in our nation is different. Any female that's 16 and under and any male that's 18 and under, they are your responsibility. Meaning that they don't need paperwork and a bunch of stuff. They just need you to trust them in law and for you to be the responsible party to speak for them. Those three things right there are major right now. And don't make it complicated to yourself. Simplify it. Whether you coming from the Moorish nation, the Cherokee nation, Navajo nation, whatever nation, just make sure it's nation. With that being said, for my Moors, for the Moors that know, we're going to need judicial officers, counselors, and diplomats to go to these ports and get supplies for the community. You don't hear me though. We're going to need competent Moors who are judicial officers, counselors, and diplomats to travel to these ports. If you're in the Khalifa territory, you already know Long Beach is the major port for every international trade. Gonna need people to represent us to go get supplies. Do you hear me? Gonna need people with flag pins, with fezzes, with charters, with knowledge and wisdom to get supplies for their own tribe and their own self first. Because you're gonna have access to an abundance of materials. It's not that the ports are closing because nothing is there. It's because the ports are closing is because everything is there and only those who are in government will have access. I think you might want to start listening to the Moors that are already telling you we already have a government, we already have a nation, and we're already law officers. We're just trying to give you something to work with so you can save your families. Just because you don't see a bunch of success for us right now and what we've been teaching right now, it's okay. Trust me, it's coming a time right around the corner where you're going to have to be government and a non-U.S. citizen. Why you think all these immigrants able to come over, foreign nationals able to come over here right now and be police officers? You don't think that's a sign? Somebody owes these other nations a debt. And I think it's the U.S. And I think they like the only one that owe everybody their silver and gold, Fort Knox. You see? They not telling you this on the news. They looking like they the powerhouse. They calling themselves American. False. They're calling their corporation America. False. It's always been a game. But the jig is up on the low. Shh, don't tell nobody. This was really going on. Slowly but surely, step by step. Why they giving them all kind of stuff and food stamps and but we've been homeless and stuff on the street. They helping them out first. Yeah, because they not black, Negro, and color. We've been telling y'all a little simple stuff. You don't want reparation. You want restoration. Reparation not gonna last with them, meaning U.S. agents and assigns when I say they and them. They gonna give you what they created just to keep they shit going. That's reparation. You don't want that. You want restoration of what our ancestors laid and what they intended for us to inherit in these days. That's what you want. Because paper burns, and that paper burns fast. Silver and gold, you can melt it, and it's worth more when you melt it. That's real money. With that being said, in the emergency state that's around the corner, every piece of item of silver and gold that you possess as a natural being, as a aborigine, corrected status, mind you, that piece, meaning each troy ounce of that gold or each ounce of that silver is worth 300 times it was worth at its original purchase. But if you a judicial officer like I am, and like we all should be, because we made that judicial proclamation, Moors, you can set the price for every piece of silver and gold that you have for any amount, for any purchase, for any trade. Soon as they yell emergency, and it's coming a time right now when it's going to happen soon, that's going to be in effect. How do you know that? Because on their own website of U.S. currency and movement, the currency status for silver is almost at 3,000 federal note value in an emergency only. But it's always been an emergency. Keep that in mind. I keep saying that. So when you national and when you want to be your natural self, you can discharge with your autograph. When you come into marvelous light and looking at my copper tone watch, it's about that time. Especially mothers and fathers. Your children are going to need you to be brave and to act like you love them, because they need slaves at the end of this time. The debt is up for them. And every nation around the world is coming to collect. Just like Satan coming to collect the souls. Same thing. So you want to make sure that you're nothing of a U.S. citizen. You want to make sure that you're nothing of a birth certificate entity. You want to make sure that you're not being the name of the Social Security. You want to make sure that you know what real money is constitutionally, not just knowing that it's silver and gold. Why? Because that's the law of the land, whether we in an emergency, whether it's a panic, a chaos, that stands. Make sure that it's the organic Constitution of 1787 and not the Act of Democracy of 1871. You see that sorcery right there? Where we have our organic law that our ancestors laid down in 1787. Then they said, look, let's do a ritual. 1871, let's flip it on them. 1870 and 1871. Using the same trinity of sequence of numbers. So, we need to make sure that somebody's going to be at these ports. Because I guarantee you that when you're competent, you have the power to do this. Just because you don't see it now, and you don't feel like it's happening now, and you don't see us in large amounts now getting all kind of claims successfully with them totally leaving us alone, mind you, that don't mean that everything is not going to activate all at once in the transition of government. We're seeing it right now. It's going back to the Asiatic hands. Every form of industry, like Noble Drew Ali said, is going back into the hands of the Asiatics. That means we need somebody from every part of this world of industry, especially people that know how to run these machines in these factories. You gonna be the national to take it over. We need somebody that's gonna be able to stay local, that's gonna be able to go to these stores and actually get through. Mind you, they're gonna have AKs, MR-15s, AR-15s at the front door. They will kill you if you can't prove that you're a true and living being and a natural national of the land. It's going to be all over the globe. China, the Chinese people, if they can't prove that they Mandarin, the Japanese people, they can't prove that they Ichiban. You see what I'm saying? It's not just at America. It's going to be all over the globe. Who's the Aborigine? Everywhere. Who's the Asiatic? Everywhere. Because Udadesda had an influence in stealing everybody's birthright everywhere. So they owe a debt. And they owe a big debt with interest. And they must pay. Even if they can't. They will pay with their life. So we need local Moors that can go to these stores. You think that nationality card is just, oh, see me? Look at my fez and stuff. It's pretty, huh? No. This is for when it go down. Every prophecy that Noble Drew Ali spoke about was for the young Moors to warn everybody and say, oh, look, this is the time it's finna go down. And we know exactly what to do. Just because you don't see us doing it now, don't mean it's not finna happen. So that nationality card has more uses than you think it does. And we're going to do a live on that. About the multi-pass, the multi-signal. The multi-pass with the multi-signal. The fifth element. You're going to need that fifth element to get through these doors. I guarantee you. Going to need that fifth element to do a bunch of stuff out here. Because either you're going to have this new slave real ID or you're going to have that national ID. Trust me, it's Chinese people with national IDs. Ain't got nothing to do with Moorish Nation. It's Japanese people with national IDs on the low. They ain't finna show you. They keep it deep in their pocket for emergencies. Check that out. Brazilian. I seen a Brazilian lady had a national ID card. She had her little business card, meaning her license, but she had her national Brazilian ID card as her master pass on the land. We're going to need Moors, especially men. All my men. We're going to need somebody that know how to go turn that water on when they go turn it off and put the lock on it. Gonna need people who know how to turn that mother lover 180 degrees so that water can come back on and so that pressure won't be too much and it don't bust the pipe. We're gonna need Moors, men, to strip that electrical meter from the box and know how to turn it back on, because it's not about the electrical poles. They lied to you, y'all. The power don't come from the pole, y'all. It's a lie. If anything, them trees is there to help move the energy like an ebb and flow, ebb and flow, ebb and flow, ebb and flow. But that's not where the power, it lies. It's not the foundation. It's in the meter. So we need Moors that know how to take that out, restore it, revamp it first, and then put it back and then watch it come on. You think I'm lying? Go do your research. Go Google, how do I repair a meter in an emergency? How do I turn the water on in an emergency? It's out there. It's not illegal to look this stuff up. It's lawful. That's the bad part about it. They tell you that it's illegal and don't do it and don't touch it and trespassing, but it's lawful in an emergency. So look these things up, especially my men. You don't want to have our women doing this stuff. It takes strength. It takes manpower. So step up to the plate, especially those with families. Do it now. Don't wait. They are already saying on the black market, ports are closing now. If you don't believe me and you got connections, go ask around. See if I'm lying. They've been telling you this 4 years ago with the first Pan-DZ. And they was like, oh, we can't get into the crates. They just sitting on the port. That was just a sign for what they're going to do later permanently. Because they don't have nowhere else to run. They have to lock things down. Things and slaves, people that want to be U.S. citizens. So they have something with other nations to trade with because they finna go down. And if you sticking, like I said, you sticking to that BC and that SSI card as your lifeline, as your God, especially that paper, they don't care how rich or poor you are. You a slave officially and generally and permanently now. If you don't have nothing else to say besides U.S. instruments and stuff. So my men, get ready and prepare yourself. Even if it don't happen a week from now, 2 weeks from now, a month from now, 2 months from now, prepare yourself now. It only take about an hour to go look on YouTube and figure out how to do these things. And you don't have to be a professional with a license. You just have to know safety, rules, and protocol. Don't shock and electrocute yourself. Don't bust the pipe underwater because it'll bust through the whole house. You got to know these things. So, stock up on your knowledge and wisdom more than anything else right now. Not GUNS's, not a whole bunch of food. Get what you need. Don't get a whole bunch. Get what you need. But stock up more on knowledge and wisdom, how to do things in an emergency crisis. We're gonna need counselors, people who know how to guide others in their community who want the help. Because when it goes down, it's gonna be major. And those who know how to speak for others, step up to the plate. I know a lot of Moors right now, we don't like each other, and you saying this and I'm saying that. I guarantee your ass when that bell ring, you're gonna be, hey yo, Brother Bay, such and such L. Hey look, we need to click up real quick. You see what's going down? I guarantee you. Sad that we ain't doing it now. But when the bell ring, and it's gonna ring, you're gonna be like, damn, I see it after all. Now we need each other. So get with some Moors that's doing some good work in your territory. Or just some Aborigines that's in their natural person that's doing the right thing. Go over these things together as a community, as a tribe, as a people. And just stay ready. Don't get ready. Just stay ready. And like I said, those who exercise judicial authority and know better, please do your best to protect these children, these women, and these elders. Because they're going to need you. They're not going to need you to fight. If they need you to do that, though, be ready to do that. But if you're an officer, they're going to need you to be very competent. If you're an officer, they're going to need you to be very outspoken. If you're an officer, they're just going to need you to guide them aright. Because you're going to have access to the multipass and everything that the multipass brings with the signal. You're just going to have to bring everything home and bring it home successfully. So they can no longer stop the other nations from doing what they want to do and coming over here freely because they're white people, like we're white people, free white people. That's what they are, other free nationals. They know that. You can't find a Nigerian that come over here to America and says that he's anything black. He's going to say he's white, especially if somebody Caucasian asks him, what's your status from your country? I am white. I guarantee it. They ain't going to tell nobody black that because they're going to be like, what the hell you mean? And you're going to have to sit down and explain it to them and run them all through the... That's why they told them, don't tell no black people nothing or else we're going to deport you back to Nigeria and Ethiopia now. They have them go watch a whole 2-hour video about not talking to quote unquote black people in America about anything free. Freedom, liberty, salvation, none of that stuff. Don't talk to them about it. Because you know. You over here in America, but you from your country, you know. And you know better. And you got access to all kind of shit over here that quote unquote blacks will never see. But you darker than them. So that's pretty much my message for this Raphael Elohim on this supreme communication. Because remember, I told you, I don't know if it was the Vince McMahon video. It was one of those videos where I told y'all that the satellites, the 2 moons that are about to be present in a couple days is the preliminary coming, what they call the second coming of this mother satellite. And remember, I told y'all the chemtrails, yeah, they're poisonous, they're toxic and stuff. But if you got melanin and you know you got melanin, it ain't going to really affect you like that. The chemtrails is to let them know how much measurement and how much moisture is coming down on the land and how close this ship is. Call it Planet X, Nibiru, whatever you want to call it. It got many names. But you seen Independence Day. You seen Will Smith. You seen that ship. And you seen the other little ships that come from it. And Independence Day, July 4th, is all about Sirius constellation, where they celebrated their independence from us at America. So it's real. It's not for fake. And if you got a good eye and you've been having a good eye, you can see some of these little ships. Sometimes you can see them moving way far, way far. Sometimes soon as you look at it and it notice that the ship notice that you're looking at us, oh shit, it look at it, zoom. They can see us. That little nigga right there can see, zoom. Not supposed to see all that yet, but we getting closer. The little ship's already here. The big mama on the way. And the chemtrail is just, like I said, is just a ruler and a measure to see how far they know. That's the price that they pay for taking over all these corporations and industries and stuff. You want to know? Oh, you're going to know everything. And it's going to be nightmarish to your colonizing ass. Because the one thing a colonizer can't stand is death. Can't stand it because they soulless beings. You ain't got no soul. You ain't going and transferring to nothing. You can't even come back. So, like Noble Drew Ali said, I'm going to leave they ass here. I'm going to leave they ass here long enough for you to learn how to run government. Why you think he said that? Why you think he set up nationhood and not tribalism? One of the main things, I think it's like number hadith or prophecy number 200 and something. It's one of them last ones that said, look, at the end of the day, the ancestors in us, we just gonna leave them hybrids alone just to show you how to run a government. Show you. And they've been showing us how to do militia, how to run government, how to run a store, how to run a corporation, how to run a business, and how to make it successful with propaganda and all that, with colors and vibrations and stuff, our stuff. So we should be looking at them and say, I'm not going to hate you. I'm going to learn from your ass. Because you on the way out. We on the way in. That was one of Noble Drew Ali's last messages. Observe them for that. Because we already have that. And when you come into fruition of that, you'll know how to move that. We have everything that it takes to save a nation. All we had to do was save ourselves. I, Self-Law Master, Islam, 13 Love.